In the sprawling desert city of Phoenix, Arizona, a suburban housewife named Connie is arrested in the middle of the night inside her own home. As she surrenders quietly, Connie reflects on the past few months that ultimately led to this moment. A former Olympic racewalker who won 3 gold medals, Connie now lives a modest life with her husband Rick, a tax auditor for the IRS, with whom she has a tense relationship. After having difficulty conceiving, the couple spent a substantial amount of money on fertility treatments, but when Connie finally became pregnant, she tragically lost the baby. Following this, Rick decided to accept a new position at work that keeps him on the road for 3 weeks every month. Even when he is at home, Rick treats Connie poorly, constantly berating her for being unemployed, blaming her for the money lost on multiple fertility treatments when he wanted to stop after just one, and criticizing her excessive coupon usage and obsession with saving money. Indeed, Connie is obsessed with coupons, hoarding them until she can buy items in bulk, only to store the purchases in the nursery to cover the walls and distract Connie from her loss. One good thing about Rick's frequent absence is that it allowed Connie to befriend her neighbor Jojo, who runs a YouTube channel about saving money and is equally enamored with coupons. Jojo lives with her mother Josie and has struggled to find work after her identity was stolen recently. In her free time, Jojo flirts with the mailman Earl, and sells makeup door to door, though she has little sales to show for her efforts. Whenever Connie shops at the supermarket, she gives the cashier Greg dozens of coupons for her purchases, which causes a huge delay in the checkout line. But it also means her final bill goes from over $100 down to just $16. As Connie likes to say, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. One afternoon while organizing groceries on the shelves, Connie becomes upset when she sees the baby wallpaper among the boxes. Hoping to soothe her depression, she binges on a box of cereal, only to discover that the cereal is stale. Fueled by anger, Connie sends the cereal company a strongly worded email to complain. As a result, she receives a coupon for free cereal a few days later in the mail, along with a letter from the manufacturer apologizing for the stale product. A smug Connie goes to redeem the coupon at the market where Greg asserts that she isn't special. All companies will send free coupons if people complain. This gives Connie the idea to send complaint letters to various manufacturers even if nothing was wrong with the products. And it doesn't take long for her to amass a huge number of coupons for free items. Connie shows the coupons to Jojo, who is shocked by such a unique strategy. Jojo even tries to buy a coupon from Connie since it would still be cheaper than paying normal price. This offer gives Connie the idea to sell the free items she acquired for 100% profit as a business. After some online research, she learns the coupons are made in Mexico, not far from where she lives, so they could travel there and obtain a bunch of coupons to resell. Jojo is hesitant at first, but since she is drowning in debt, it's not long before she agrees to help. Meanwhile, in Nevada, loss prevention officer Ken is working at a local market. When a cashier has trouble with a coupon, Ken inspects it and quickly realizes that it's counterfeit. The manager asks if they can accept it anyway since the elderly lady has been a loyal customer for decades, but Ken denies the request, stating that rules are rules. Ken's rude manner earns him some choice words from the old lady. A similar situation occurs when Ken boards a plane to return home. A mother asks if he could switch seats with her daughter so that she can watch the landing, which helps her stay calm, but the uncivil Ken refuses, claiming it's an important lesson for the child. When Ken finally arrives at his lonely Utah apartment, he finally releases his pent-up frustration by yelling at the TV. The next day in Mexico, Connie and Jojo arrive at the coupon factory and watch the employees finish their shifts. They decide to approach Alejandro and Rosa, a couple already breaking rules but who seem harmless otherwise. Connie and Jojo follow them in their car, making the couple think they're about to be robbed. But after clarifying that they only want to talk, Alejandro welcomes them into his home to chat. It turns out that Rosa is pregnant, and their wage at the factory is awful, so Connie and Jojo easily convince Rosa to steal coupons which they can later resell in the United States and share the profits. Alejandro is hesitant at first, but Rosa convinces him to do it for the sake of their baby. The plan is quite simple. Alejandro works in printing while Rosa is in redemption, separate departments which are generally unaware of the other's actions. For every coupon printed, there is always a duplicate that is supposed to be destroyed, but Alejandro can ship those to Connie and Jojo using the trucks that distribute product in the US. If the trucks are inspected, border agents will see only coupons, nothing that appears suspicious. Days later, the first box of coupons arrives, and the women quickly create a simple website to sell them on, promoting the site on Jojo's YouTube channel. Their business quickly takes off, earning tons of cash, but the supermarkets soon take notice as well. Ken receives dozens of complaints from managers about all the money lost to fake coupons. He launches an investigation and works tirelessly to track one of the purchases back to a credit card. 11 days later, he visits a housewife who used one of the counterfeit coupons. She shares the website where she purchased the coupon and alerts him of JoJo's YouTube channel. Upon returning to his office, Ken visits the website and sees the motto, "If you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves." Meanwhile, the two women encounter an issue when their PayPal account is frozen for receiving too much money too quickly. To reopen it, they must prove that they're running a legitimate business. Unsure how to proceed and getting desperate, they contact an infamous dark web hacker named Tina. Upon hearing their story, Tina scolds them for openly promoting illegal activity, which can be easily traced back to Connie and JoJo. After deleting the YouTube videos, Tina explains they also need fake IDs, new bank accounts, and a stash house where they can launder the money. Also, they cannot spend any money for the next 6 months, which is the time it will take to disassociate the business from their true identities. Lastly, Tina negotiates a 10% cut for her help, and provides them with an encrypted USB drive to store important files. Thanks to Tina's quick actions, there are no more clues for Ken to trace online. He appeals to the FBI, but they laugh off coupon fraud as a low-level crime and assign their lowest-ranking agent, Albert, who only accepts the case because he has nothing better to do. Now using their new identities and JoJo's cosmetics brand as a front, the coupon profits begin rolling in again, while Ken is stuck leaving daily messages for the apathetic FBI agents. 6 months later, with Tina's warning about dirty money in mind, the duo is finally ready to spend their money, but they remember it must be cleaned first. Recalling a story from Rick about a tax client, Connie says they need to buy high-priced items to later resell so the sales income will appear above board. After convincing several banks to provide cash so they can hire workers for their cosmetics business, Connie and JoJo go on a lavish spending spree, splurging on sports cars, boats, private planes, and even weapons. Afterwards, they take a trip to Las Vegas and discuss their future plans. JoJo plans to pay off her mother's mortgage and Connie wants to restart fertility treatments. Meanwhile, Ken finally receives the call from the FBI that he's been waiting for. Albert informs him that an expert has deleted the duo's online footprints by erasing any cookies, but since the coupons are being sent via regular mail, he can send a postal inspector to help. 2 days later, Ken meets with Simon, who after accepting the case asks Ken to order some coupons so they can examine the process in detail. When the envelope arrives days later, Simon notes that although it says Kansas, the postal numbers identify Arizona as the origin state. Simon says he'll fly to Phoenix soon and agrees to take Ken because the latter is already familiar with the supermarkets there. Back to Connie, she makes a fertility clinic appointment, bringing JoJo for support since she hasn't yet told Rick what she's doing. The doctor says it's her last chance at the treatment, so Connie opts to use a donor instead of Rick's sperm. Later, an angry Tina contacts the women about how they spent the money, completely missing her previous instructions. By using JoJo's cosmetics brand as a front, the money was already clean. Now they must quickly sell everything they bought and slowly redeposit the money in small increments. When Rick returns from another business trip, he takes notice of their new TV, and Connie claims that she got a job in sales and has quit coupons. Pleased, Rick calls her a new wife, cementing Connie's decision to pursue donor treatment without his involvement. In the meantime, Ken and Simon interrogate all the cashiers in the area, asking if any clients have demonstrated an obsession with coupons. When they question Greg, they find the information that has eluded them for so long. He doesn't know Connie's name, but he gives a description of the coupon-bearing blonde woman and mentions her motto about pennies to dollars, which Ken recalls seeing on the website. The next day, Ken and Simon go to the local post office to see if any of the workers know anything about a blonde couponer. Still, nobody identifies Connie, but when they hear the word coupon, they point to Earl instead, noting that he is constantly watching JoJo's money-saving tips on YouTube. Back to the duo. The sheer volume has made selling on eBay quite difficult. When they go to a cafe for a drink, they encounter 2 men from a gun club, so they get the club's address and later visit with all their weapons to sell. JoJo makes an incredible sales pitch, but the leader still refuses to buy them, so the women agree to heavily discount the weapons if the men purchase everything they have, which finalizes the deal. At the same time, Ken and Simon interrogate Earl in private, but he refuses to divulge any information. Once released, Earl promptly goes to JoJo's house and leaves her a note in an envelope disguised as regular mail, which Josie takes without realizing its importance. Unbeknownst to Earl, Ken and Simon followed him there, and they now plan to surveil the house for as long as necessary. Night falls by the time JoJo arrives home, and the men realize this is the black woman from the YouTube video when JoJo emerges from her car and starts dancing in the driveway, celebrating the great deal she made earlier. The next morning, Distracted by an argument with Josie, Jojo pays the male no mind and heads to the stash house as usual. Ken and Simon trail her to the house and discover Connie is there too, identifying her as the blonde from Greg's description. Simon gathers other postal inspectors to properly initiate the investigation, and now equipped with more details, finding Connie's and Jojo's identity is easy, especially when they show Greg a photo and he confirms they have the right women. That night, Jojo has trouble sleeping, so she checks on her mother before going to the kitchen for a snack. There, she finally discovers Earl's note urging her to skip town, but it is too late. Simon arrives with his team and all three women are taken into custody. After their homes and the stash house are raided, the arrest makes the news, surprising Earl when he sees Jojo's face on TV. As interrogations begin, Rick and Josie quickly deny being involved and agree to cooperate with the authorities. Jojo also denies the charges, claiming ignorance, but they already located the YouTube videos on her computer. Connie, on the other hand, admits to her crime but is shocked to hear they could face 40 years to life for fraud. Only if she takes full responsibility for initiating the scheme will they go easier on Jojo, so Connie accepts the deal. Jojo is released on bail and assumes it was Josie, but she walks out and learns it was Earl who bailed her out when she sees him waiting with flowers. Sadly, Connie isn't as fortunate. Rick only visits to reprimand her about the situation and refuses to bail her out, so Connie requests a divorce. The investigation continues and inspectors trace the coupons back to Alejandro and Rosa, but the collaborating couple is long gone. And without any reliable leads to look into, the Mexican government will not pursue them any further. Connie hires a rather costly lawyer, which proves to be the right move. On the day of the trial, the attorney convinces everyone that Connie and Jojo simply exploited a loophole, something big corporations do all the time. His tactic succeeds, with Jojo getting just 10 days in jail and a year of probation, while Connie receives 11 months with parole eligibility. Simon and Ken are dissatisfied with the result and demand explanations from the state attorney, who clarifies that the judge showed restraint because the brands on the coupons pushed for leniency to avoid bad publicity. For such megacorporations, even the $80 million lost to this scam is inconsequential. With the case closed, Simon must depart, but first he tells Ken that he's a good man and he's glad they worked together, though Ken should still work on his attitude. As time passes, everyone's lives evolve. Ken starts being a little kinder, making exceptions for old clients with fake coupons and finally working up the nerve to create an online dating profile. Connie gets the divorce she wanted, and the fertility treatment proves successful, so she spends her time in prison with a pregnant belly. Authorities seize most of the scam's earnings, but they ignore the nursery boxes assuming they contain food, allowing Jojo to recover the boxes that Connie had been stashing cash in all along. Jojo gets together with Earl, and the couple moves to Montenegro, a non-extradition country, to start a new scam under another cosmetics brand, eagerly awaiting Connie's eventual release so they can work together again. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Please leave a like on the video, and subscribe to see more.